Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Los Socios De Manny. This is actually like a real socio. I've known this guy for a while. Javi Garcia, current basketball athletic trainer
Correct.
for Seton Hall men's basketball. So this guy is legit now. I've known him since what? You were like younger than me, right?
Yeah, I've known Manny since he was like a child, an infant. Like we grew up, just our families knew each other well. And now look, fast forward a bunch of years later, he's going to school here. I'm working with the men's basketball program. It's my first year here.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited.
Yeah, it was my first year here too. So we
Yep.
came together. Let's go all the way back. Let's start from the beginning. You grew up in North Bergen, New Jersey. Just take us into like Javi Garcia's background.
Yeah, so my family's from Cuba. I'm a first generation American. They came to this country, worked their way up, got us into school and everything. Grew up playing basketball, baseball, just like recreationally with my friends, like on travel teams and stuff. Always was into sports, loved watching it, loved playing it. Was never really good enough to like play at the next level or anything, but I always loved being a part of it. Went to college at first, initially didn't really know what exactly I wanted to do. I got into psychology, and then I slowly transitioned into exercise science, kinesiology, and that kind of set up the foundation for what it's now. Like 10 years later, I'm here. So my background is all exercise science, kinesiology. I got my master's at Montclair State University nearby in athletic training. That kind of took me to a New York Jets opportunity, which I was there for a few months, and it was a great experience. It kind of like helped my career kind of really take off early on. And then that took me to FIU. I went to Miami. I was there for like 3 years. I got a doctorate degree there, and I was lucky enough that they paid for that. Same thing with my master's degree. I was super fortunate to get those opportunities and work with those teams. And yeah, now I got an opportunity to come back home to New Jersey, work with a high level basketball team, which is a sport I always realistically wanted to work. And I'm just excited to be here.
So going back to Montclair, the beginning of Montclair, you said you didn't really know what you wanted to do. What was the moment that you realized that this is like your passion?
Yeah, so I saw an opportunity about to graduate. So it was right before COVID hit. I had a few internships at some sports performance facilities at Parisi Speed School in Fairlawn. Um, I also was working at the Hackensack UMC Fitness and Wellness Center as an intern, just in undergrad. And I kind of wanted to take the next step in as to like, am I going to be more of a sports performance coach, personal trainer, or go more into the physical therapy, athletic training, sports medicine route? And, I had a moment where I was like, all right, well, I'm going to graduate first. COVID had just hit, so everything was closed. One of my mentors at Montclair actually was telling me, oh, we have a graduate assistant position available, like a teaching assistant position. And if you're interested in PT, athletic training is like a good degree to get beforehand because it'll set you up for PT school. So I sat down with the director of athletic training at Montclair, Dr. Garden, who is a great mentor. And, I actually have to go visit soon. And yeah, I sat down with him. He kind of broke down what athletic training is, how it could help me going forward. And I was super interested. I was going to get the degree paid for. So I was like, it's COVID. I don't have anything else to do. I can't really work at the places that were offering me a job as a sports performance coach. So I decided to just buckle down and go back to grad school. And once I got into athletic training and I knew exactly what it was and figured it out, the population that we worked with, the athletes that we get to work with on a daily basis, and having to travel with the team and work with them more on an intimate level, I was like, I'm sold. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, I hope I can do this at the highest level, which for me was always to like chase an NBA position, which is kind of still, something that I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of I've taken steps closer to that.
Like
and
one step.
yeah, so I'm kind of like very close, and hopefully, if the opportunity presents itself and it's something that works with me at that point in my life, then maybe I'll jump at the opportunity. But that was always the goal for me at that time. So I continued to work throughout grad school, and I was just sold on the athletic training. I was like, this is the population I want to work with. It's not geriatric, it's not pediatric, it's strictly just athletes. And I was sold on that, honestly.
That's awesome. So you want to go to the NBA, but you already have some experience in the NFL. You were the Jets, I believe it was the 2022 preseason, correct?
Yep.
So what was that experience like?
Yeah, so that was the one experience that really gave me a wow, like this is what I would do it for the rest of my life. This was an opportunity that I got because I was, persistent with trying to meet the right people and, having the right mentors. And I ended up, yeah, with the New York Jets summer of 2022, all throughout training camp into the preseason. I got to go work a game against the Eagles in the preseason, which is an amazing experience. And it was tough. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's at that point in time, the team has like 100 guys there, all trying to make the team, trying to make the 50-man roster, whatever it is. And there's a lot of bodies. They need the help. So you're pretty much doing a lot of hands-on stuff, but you're also doing a lot of like grunt work, like setting up the field, like hydration, chasing people around for urine tests to like try and get to see how hydrated they are at the end of the day. How many pounds does this guy lose after practice? So you're doing a lot of the chasing people around, getting people into the training room. They do let you tape somewhat. They do let you do rehab treatments, but they do have a full staff. So a lot of the time, the interns there are to learn, to observe, and then you'll get your opportunity standing around these people, like asking the right questions. They'll be like, "Hey, can you do this same thing that I'm doing with him, with this other guy?" And yeah, people start to trust you as you start to help them feel better, as you start to help them return and heal and get back to doing what they love. That was such a fulfilling moment. And doing it at that level with guys that are going to be on national television, playing against all these other NFL teams, it was an honor. Like I was super blessed and humbled, and it taught me a lot. It definitely taught me I didn't want to work football,
Yeah.
but it taught me how to work in that space, talk to those people, talk to coaches, talk to administrators, and GMs, people higher up in the organization that would just come down and sit in the sidelines, ask questions and stuff like that. Um,
Oh, lights turned off.
Lights went out.
It's okay. We'll just cut it.
They're motion
They're motion
sensor. Yeah,
sensor.
so they'll turn back on.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool.
So yeah, it puts you in a space to talk with those people at that level, and it definitely set me up to be super confident going into uh working at the collegiate Division 1 level. My first job at FIU was men's and women's track and field and indoor volleyball. So, I had a lot of people to work with. And since I was coming from a space that was, a little more intense with a lot of people, I stepped into my first official job as an athletic trainer, like prepared. Like I was like, look, this is mine. Like this is my team. These are the athletes that I get to work with on a daily basis and try and get better so they can perform at a higher level.
Did you ever get intimidated going into a professional scene? You don't have to get into specifics, but obviously you're dealing with millionaires and a lot of egos. Was that intimidating in the beginning?
It definitely is. I feel like, there's a lot of nerves involved with being in that space and trying not to make a mistake. And you're always like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Is this going to make this guy worse?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to help this guy move the needle just a little bit on a daily basis and have him ready for practice. But what if I'm hindering him? And, what if, something happens on the field and they come back and point the finger at me? So, all those thoughts go through your head, especially as a freshly certified athletic trainer. And as someone who's just young and new to the space, like you get intimidated. And, there's people with big personalities, big egos who, it might seem like they're demanding things sometimes. And like, you don't know how fast you have to get things done. And you're running around like, oh, I got to do this because it's this guy or this person, or, the staff is, putting that person in your hands, essentially. Like, look, this is the guy you're going to work with for the summer, whatever he needs, essentially. So anything that has to do with his body, getting him ready for practice, like you're essentially responsible for. And if that person has a couple bad days, couple bad weeks, like, it doesn't realistically mean it's your fault.
No.
But like you kind of feel that, like, damn, what could I have done better to have helped him feel that, to have helped him perform better?
That's crazy. I feel like no one thinks about that. Like the average fan doesn't really.
Nah, they're not. And it's all the stuff. It's all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. Like when you guys are at home watching these games, like, we're up and down the sideline trying to get these guys, electrolytes, taping wrists, taping fingers, stretching guys on the sideline, doing a soft tissue massage. And that's also stuff the camera doesn't really see because camera is focused on, the end zone and end zone. And we're running around with our heads cut off, like on the sideline, trying to get these guys, prep for the next snap. So there's a lot of chaos in football specifically. But yeah, so it's intimidating. Like you kind of have to tienen que ponerte la pila.
La
Like,
fila,
yeah, you have to like
No,
put your
no.
batteries in and like really be ready to go and really be able to attack the challenge and just be ready for anything. Anything can happen at any point. Someone could drop on the field with full body cramps. Someone could go into God forbid, cardiac arrest,
Yeah.
or have some type of head trauma, spine trauma, and you have to be prepared for that. You can't really get too caught up in, oh my god, like I'm worried, I'm scared, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, you kind of just have to like act and make sure that what you are doing is just efficient, and that you trust yourself and what you already know. When you're at that level, they picked you for a reason. Like, out of 100 interns, 1,000 interns that applied to that one team, like, they selected 8 of you guys, and they expect you guys to be prepared for anything. And obviously, they do give you like a little preseason, pre-summer kind of training introduction. So they kind of prep you for all this emergency stuff to happen. But still, like, some people freeze up in moments like that.
Yeah.
And you kind of just have to be ready and prepared for anything.
And you also watched all the practices. I remember you telling me that Joe
Yeah.
Flacco was still nice. That
Yeah.
was 2 years before he actually led the Browns to the playoffs, which is crazy. Javi knew before everyone else,
Yeah.
which was hilarious. But then you go to FIU, so let's move on to that.
Mhm.
What was your experience like at FIU? Take us kind of through the timeline of that.
Yeah, so I got to FIU closer to September 2022. And I jumped right in. It was like my second day of work was like physicals, mass physicals day. So for people that don't know what that is, it's essentially a day where all the athletes, all the teams come in for an 8-hour span to get their physicals done for the day. It's a lot. Yeah, it's probably like, who knows? I forgot how many athletes, maybe 300, 400, 500 athletes that came in like a 2-day span, and we have to do EKGs for cardiac testing, concussion, baseline testing, orthopedic evaluations, people that come in with injuries that, we kind of have to make sure that we recruited these people. We want to make sure that when we put them out there on the court, the field, the track, like, they're prepped and we're not putting them out there at risk of more injury, and that we're well aware of what type of procedures they had at their previous school or in high school or whatever the case is. So it's very thorough, and it's, the higher you climb, the more thorough these physicals become. But that was my first or second day, and it was just like a bunch of people. I was putting electrodes on people's chests, and like it's like 15 electrodes, 12 electrodes, whatever it is, just to get a heart rhythm, and making mistakes my first few days.
Yeah.
I vividly remember all that stuff, and meeting all the doctors and the physicians that are going to cover our team sports and things like that. And yeah, so that was my first day. I kind of jumped right into the fire. And then slowly I started to get more comfortable. I started to set a schedule for my athletes to come see me. I worked there for what? I worked there with the track and field team specifically and the volleyball team my entire first year. As I was finishing up that year, there was a moment where the head athletic trainer transitioned out and a new one came in. And then the men's basketball athletic trainer transitioned out, and that position was available. So I kind of was considered for that position. I sat down with the coaching staff. They liked me. They knew I was young, but they knew I was hungry. Like, they knew I was willing to take on the challenge, and they knew that this was my goal and essentially what I wanted to do. So they took a shot on me. They loved me to this day. I ended up spending maybe 2 years with the men's basketball team, and it was a great experience. Like, it got my foot in the door in Division I athletics. FIU is a beautiful campus. I enjoyed my time there. I enjoyed my coworkers, my mentors, everyone who helped me along the way. So it was a great time. FIU was definitely a stepping stone from, right. I came from a D3 school, obviously had the Jets experience, but then the only job I really got in Division I athletics was FIU, and I was like, hey, I got to move down to Florida to get this experience to hopefully either continue to jump in this Division I position of men's basketball, or hopefully go to to a pro team at some point.
Yeah. So when did Seton Hall reach out?
So Seton Hall, it's a funny story. Well, not funny, but it's a great story, because I remember leaving grad school in 2022, like about to step into my internship with the Jets, and just looking up Division I men's basketball programs in this area, New York, New Jersey, and just seeing all the athletic trainers that were assigned to these teams, being like, hey, like, I want to be one of these guys one day. And like, hopefully by the time I get the experience, like, I can transition into these roles. And I remember seeing my boss now director of sports medicine, Tony Testa, and being like, hey, this guy's been there forever. Like, he's probably going to be there. He still looks young. He'll probably be there for another 10, 15 years. Same thing with people at Rutgers, St. John's. Like, there were just people there that have been there for years, and who would want to leave working for these like high level schools. But and then fast forward, I'm kind of at a point where I want to transition out of FIU. We kind of had 2 rough seasons with men's basketball. I was looking for a place with better pay, better opportunity anywhere in the country. At that point, I had been interviewed by some G League teams, but the G League teams weren't really like paying what I thought they were going to pay, and honestly didn't have the resources I thought they were going to have.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised. Like, some of these people like are just traveling hotel to hotel, like playing at rec centers, like, practicing at rec centers, lifting at public gyms or private gyms that they rent out for the day. Whereas like other teams have their own facility or work under the NBA team, like the Cavs. I know that they're the Cavaliers and the G League. I forgot what they're called.
I have no idea.
But they essentially split the schedule throughout the day, and they both share the Cavaliers facility. But I was in a moment of transition. I was looking almost like every day at one point after my season ended, like, hey, let's see what else is out there. I was on LinkedIn and I saw Seton Hall athletic trainer position posted. And usually these men's basketball positions are like harder to like kind of get just because everyone wants to work an indoor sport with 15 guys. And a lot of people are fans of basketball. Like, it's just
Big East too.
Yeah, Big East basketball, anywhere. Just those are like positions that people want compared to like a track and field position, which is, a little more demanding and more people. It's an outdoor sport, all those things. So, usually they don't post a sport assignment on a lot of those postings, especially for men's basketball. Like, they'll post it and be like, athletic trainer, whatever school, track and field or volleyball. They'll do those accessory sports at schools, but they'll never really put a men's basketball position. But this was one that actually said, oh, they're hiring for men's basketball specifically. So I applied through LinkedIn, whatever. I don't know how many days, maybe like 2-3 days. It had been out for like 2-3 days. 2-3 days after I applied, Tony Testa, the director here, called me. And the reason he called me so soon was because on my references, there was somebody that he worked with at Columbia like 15, 20 years ago. So that was like one of his early jobs as an athletic trainer. And she was actually at FIU at the time. That's how I met her. She was a professor in the Masters in Athletic Training program who became a great friend and mentor during my time there. She went out of her way. Her name is Dr. AJ Williams. And she, came to me on a regular basis, developed a relationship with me, would always give me advice. And he called her apparently first. She spoke well of me. Then he called me directly, and, that the rest was history. I pretty much got an in-person interview, came up here. I spoke with the coaches, I spoke with the administration, and it worked out. Like, he pretty much told me like, hey, like, once I saw that name on your references, I called her right away. As soon as I spoke to her, I called you right away. As soon as I spoke to you, all I had to do was convince everybody else that you were the guy. So after that, he said, I didn't interview any more people. Like, I've got you up here just so you can meet everybody and have everybody else give me the thumbs up. So
that's awesome.
Because he was like, I saw your resume, it was great. All these experiences, certifications, opportunities that you've gone out of your way to get in like a short amount of time. And this is what you want to do. Like, this is the next step. I'm trying to bring somebody in to take over this team so I can oversee the department. And it worked out. So
it was seamless.
Bro, seamless.
And right next to home.
Yeah, this is home. I grew up like 35 minutes from here. So it's the hometown team. It's the New Jersey basketball team. Yeah, realistically, not a football school. Like, this is the New Jersey basketball team. So the fact that I get to work in my home state with the home state basketball team at a school that prioritizes the sport, it's honestly like a dream come true. Like, little did I know 2, 3, 4 years ago, me just dreaming about this opportunity or any opportunity, and seeing myself now and how far I've come is just awesome.
You come in first year that this is open, correct?
Yeah, so this is pretty much what we're sitting in right now is a new facility. Like, this is a whole new $50 million men's basketball performance facility. This is the athletic training room alone. I have my own office here. We have a practice court. We have sauna, steam room, recovery rooms with hyperbaric chambers and massage chairs. What else? I don't know. I mean, it's just awesome. Honestly, jaw dropping. When I came here And I took a tour. I was like, oh yeah, this is next level. So I'm like, they're trying to step up everything here. They opened up my position. They built this new facility. They have 12 new guys ready to get going. The coach is super hungry. He doesn't want what happened last year to happen this year.
Yeah.
So like we're
Practices
ready.
are
Like every
intense.
practices are intense. Like we've been getting after it almost every day. A lot of volume of reps and just, teaching these guys, the coach is just really teaching these guys what they want out of them for them to play. And like, he's an intense coach, but he means well and he wants the best for everybody. And I'm excited to be a part of it, man. It's a hungry environment. These guys want to be here. They want to win. The coaches, they're ready to take.
How often do you interact with Coach Shah, if at all, really?
Literally before this interview, I was on the phone with him.
You on the phone with him?
Yeah, I was on the phone with him trying to set up some massage therapy sessions for the guys next week. We're gonna have somebody come in from the outside and take care of these guys. We just set up yoga twice a week. So today we had a yoga session. We're having another yoga session, I believe, on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. And essentially just like the planning of the recovery for these guys. Like he'll call me and be like, hey, how's this guy doing? How's Mike doing? How's TJ doing? And I just got to give him a quick little update on like, oh, TJ's feeling a little better today. We got him on the core. We did this. We progressed him in rehab, or we regressed him. He did good in lift, and just giving him essentially an overview of how the day went for the guys that are hurt. Because he had a rough season with injuries last year, and that's something you can't really control all the time. It's just stuff that happens due to the intensity of the game and the high activity of these guys and the minutes that they're playing, the games that they're playing throughout the year. So he just wants to make sure that this year we're on top of getting these guys everything and trying everything that we can to, that he thinks is beneficial or that I think is beneficial. So I brought a lot of ideas when I first came here. He has some ideas that he runs by me, and then we just kind of sit down, agree on, okay, let's hammer these down first and see how they respond to these new activities like yoga, like introducing a massage therapist coming in once a week. So I would say on a daily basis, I at practice, he comes up to me randomly in between him, coaching super intensely, and he'll ask me a few things, but I usually just touch base with him or the associate head coach, Ryan Whalen, who's awesome person to work with and very organized, takes care of everything. I kind of run all my scheduled treatments by him, and he kind of throws them into the group chat for the guys to kind of see and be prepared for the next day.
That's big. I don't think people realize how unique or valuable that is, because not every coach is that on top of this side of the game, which is important. You got to be, best ability is availability. So that's awesome that Coach Shah is always involved. Let's go. I think I know the answer to this, but just for the people watching, what's the end goal for Javi Garcia in this field?
End goal, man. I think about it sometimes and I don't know exactly. I have ideas right now that I'm going to share, but right now I'm kind of so locked in on being here, present right now.
Of course, yeah.
Because like, it's just, I saw myself here a couple years ago and now I'm here. So now I'm just trying to kill it at this level. But I think long term, if I get an opportunity in pro sports, that would be great. I would, consider it for sure. Or staying at a school like this, maybe become a professor part-time, still kind of be involved with the sports medicine department, be more of like a teacher educator, bringing up other athletic trainers, starting programs, to, get people involved in the profession, things of that nature, like interest me. Definitely the academic side interests me as well, like wanting to teach what I did for however amount of years to the new generation of athletic trainers so that, maybe one of those kids will take my job eventually.
Yeah.
And like, I can kind of father them into a position where maybe I'm overseeing a department somewhere. So that's kind of like where my head goes. I would love to work pro sports, but you also have to kind of think of, it's a lot of time away from home, from your family. It's, for me right now, someone that doesn't have kids or isn't married, it's enticing, the idea of it, traveling around the country, playing at the highest level ever in basketball. It's fun, it's exciting, but who knows what happens in the next few years. And it's a lot of games. Like it's way more than college. Like we're talking about at most, if we make it to the tournament, like deep in the tournament, maybe 45, 50 games
around there. Yeah.
Around there. Whereas like in the NBA, guaranteed you're playing 82 all spread out throughout the map. Like you can be on a 2-week road trip.
Yeah.
You might not touch home base for 2 weeks. So you kind of got to weigh those options. Obviously, if the pay is ridiculously more, that
And if it's
no brainer.
Pat Riley calling.
Oh yeah, if it's the Heat, I mean, I had when I came up and took this job, like a fellowship position open down there. It wasn't, it's more for like an entry level athletic trainer. But if that opportunity would have presented itself 2-3 years ago, I might have taken it and like, done like a seasonal position with the Heat while I was in Miami. But I mean, it all works out for a reason. Like I got this opportunity.
No, this is awesome.
This is awesome. I have my own space. I get to, be one-on-one with these guys throughout the day and spend an hour and a half with just one guy. Whereas like, a lot of other places don't have that luxury. They might have basketball and cheer and golf and, or they might have an accessory sport and share an athletic training room with a bunch of other athletic trainers. And you might have to schedule your day a little differently. Whereas like I can spend 2 hours with one guy and, really get the things done that we need to get done for him to feel good at practice, and then spend another hour post practice to recover them. And we have a lot of resources now where like they can get in the hot tub, cold tub, hyperbaric chamber, sauna, steam room, where it's like, it's not even hands-on treatment at this point. I can just do quick soft tissue, joint mobilization, go hop in the tub, go do the chamber, go home for the day.
That's awesome. So you've touched on a lot of it, but kind of just laid out, because there's a lot of young people that are interested perhaps in this field, but also just have big dreams. I guess I'm speaking for myself here. How does someone in their 20s get to a position like this at Seton Hall? Because this is truly end game for some people.
Yeah, it is. And, for the foreseeable future right now, this is where I want to build and grow and, outlast hopefully a lot of other people that came through here. But to answer your question, I think you want me to give you advice on terms of like how to get here?
Yeah.
How to get to a position.
What qualities get you to a position like this so early?
I would say work hard, find as many opportunities in your given profession as you can get, whether that be internships, observation hours, find mentors, reach out to people. That's one thing that I was told early on, and I was like, I got to do this for free at first to like get this opportunity. Like I pretty much had 2 or 3 internships that I pretty much paid credits to take these internships, and, should be under an athletic trainer, be under a performance coach, and, reach out to people that helped me land the Jets position. Like that just didn't, I applied for that. I applied for other teams through the portal, but I really got the Jets opportunity because a year before I had reached out to one of the athletic trainers who was on like a student panel, and he was like, hey, email me after the panel is over.
Yeah.
And I emailed him. I followed up with him a year later. He said, hey, are you still interested in this position? We have one more spot. Next thing you know, I'm on the New York Jets staff, like for the summer, which was great. So I would just say, be where your feet are, man. Like there are going to be a lot of opportunities that you think are not worth it early on because maybe you're not getting paid, or maybe it's a lot of time that you have to dedicate towards, or it's not necessarily what you see yourself doing later, but it's going to help you clarify, your end goal. It's going to help you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, okay, maybe this is not what I want to do. Maybe I want to kind of turn and go this direction, turn and go that direction. So yeah, just be present, work hard, reach out to everyone who's already doing what you want to do. And just do it better than anyone else who's already there. Like I always told myself, like in any room that I step into, I'm going to leave my best impression. And by the time I finish, my time is over at the Jets. My time is over at FIU. My time is over at Seton Hall. You ask anyone there, like they're going to be able to tell me like, oh, Javi always was a hard worker, knew what he was doing, gave his best effort, high energy dude. They always said good things about me. That's how I landed these positions. And you kind of have to leave an impression on people. You have to be a good person and obviously know what you're talking about. It's a combination of, your knowledge and how much you know and how good you are at what you do, your skills, but it's also like how good of a person you are. And like, are you trustworthy? Are you a guy that like just comes in for the scheduled hours? Or are you somebody who comes in a little earlier, leaves a little later, like on days when that might be necessary? Like you're doing a little more than your 9 to 5 sometimes just to leave an impression on somebody early on. So then, you're trusted. They can kind of let the leash go on you, especially as an intern, especially early on in your career when you're trying to make a name for yourself. Like nobody knows you. You have no job experience. You're not getting paid to do any of this. And you're on top of that, you're outworking the people that are getting paid to do this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you're staying later than those guys, and you're making those guys look like they're not doing enough. And then it's like, well, damn, you need a job after this? It's like, that's how it works. So that's essentially just leave a good impression on people, work hard, be where your feet are, be hungry, like always want more, chase knowledge, chase education. There's so many certifications, books, things that I integrated, right? There's not just one philosophy that I follow for like the things that I do with my athletes. Like, I might have read that book, I might have listened to that podcast, taken these 2 certifications, and I integrate a piece of all of that. And that turned into like my approach to, injury prevention, injury recovery, rehab, like strength and conditioning. You got to kind of learn from everybody, both extremes and everything in between for you to kind of narrow down what it is that you think is best for these guys. So keep learning, continue to just, be humble, always be willing to teach younger people. That's another thing I told myself I would want to do, like, because I didn't have a lot of people that were doing the things I wanted to do that I knew of. I didn't even know about athletic training until I was in grad school. Like I was telling you, I had to sit down with somebody to explain that to me for me to decide to go to a grad program in athletic training. And like, we had apparently an athletic trainer in my high school and I didn't even know him. So, that goes to show you that you're going to figure it out along the way. You just got to meet the right people. And like now being this person in this position and hopefully for many years, I want to, teach a younger generation and like take people under my wing and show them what maybe I wasn't taught or shown at an early on enough space so they can have an advantage going forward, essentially.
Dude, this was incredible,
Bro.
I appreciate it, man.
My God,
that was a lot of good stuff.
Maybe it's family to me.
No doubt. Thank you guys for watching. Javi Garcia, everybody. Make sure you follow Javi Garcia ATC, right?
Javi.garcia.atc on Instagram.
On Instagram.
I post a lot of educational stuff, but it's also like personal educational. Feel free to follow, reach out if you have questions. I'm always quick on responding on questions.
So go click buttons on that, please. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care,
guys.